Live from the local station, this is Weather Authority Weekday.
Hey everyone.
Good morning. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Good morning.
It's been a great one. It's finally Friday.
It is. It's a good thing. I'm meteorologist Mark Collins. Looking forward to the weekend.
Me too. I'm meteorologist Katie Garner, and we are aiming for a pretty nice beach weekend.
Yeah, definitely. And that's a topic on our mind because it's the opening of the beaches here in Jax Beach. And if you're a visitor and you're in for the area this weekend, you're going to be treated to quite a lot of activity, a lot of events happening out there, some music concerts, and of course, all the great restaurants and bars to go to. It's a beautiful day today. All week has been pretty spectacular, a little on the warm side. You can see there's some surf out there today, and folks are making their way up and down the shoreline looking for a shark's tooth or maybe a special little shell that has washed up along the beach. Hey, temperatures are pretty nice right now.
They are so nice right now. We started out pretty mild, and now, you know, we're in the 70s, almost in the 80s. I'll tell you what, I got an email from a viewer. She found a piece of a sand dollar out there this morning.
Yeah.
I thought that was so cool. Yeah, and good for you. You know, keep the hunt up. Let us know. Is this a good weekend to surf?
It will be, yeah, definitely. We're looking at some waves out there and also some good shell hunting weather.
Oh, so great.
Yeah, if you find a sand dollar, chances are, if it's been on the beach for a while, it's white. If it's a fresh one, they look totally different.
Do they really?
They're brown.
I
They're
didn't
brown
know
and
that.
fuzzy. And they've got
my
these
God.
little cilia, these little things that move around. If you put it in your hand, you can see the little cilia, these little hairs that are moving.
So it's alive. So like, put it back.
Well, that would be, yeah. But chances are you have to be down in the mud, swimming and looking for them. We see that all the time on the Gulf Coast. You'd find tons of sand dollars out there.
You know, we go to this place in South Carolina, Devereux, and starfish wash up.
Oh, yeah.
And they are beautiful. They're alive.
Yeah.
So, you know, you put it back, obviously, but they're so beautiful. It's cool.
Both sand dollars and starfish, part of the Echinoderma phylum. And we used to study those in biology.
Awesome.
And yeah,
this is why you join us, because you learn things like that, you know?
That's right. All right, so we're talking about weather here, not biology. And the temperatures are pretty nice right now, but we're going to be heating up. Don't count on much cloud cover today. And without the clouds, that means we're looking at a pretty dry day. Only a few clouds around us here, but out towards our northern areas, there you see all the weather that's pushing through the mid-Mississippi Valley, some thunderstorms firing up in areas around Mississippi and up into the Tennessee Valley. That's the front that could actually give us some rain on Sunday.
It didn't, this morning when I was looking, it didn't look too appreciable, but we need anything we can get. We just need some rain on the ground.
Yeah,
you know?
I'll call it just scraps of showers. And that's about it for Sunday. So that bodes well for your outdoor plans Sunday, since we will finally have, instead of a 0% chance of rain, that will increase to around 20 to 30% on Sunday. I think Monday will be a better opportunity for some showers. So we've got warmth here in our backyard. It's even hotter down across west central Florida with temps in the 90s. And
92.
Yeah, that's something that we could see over the weekend over our inland areas, as we'll see temperatures a little bit warmer than today. Future forecast, let's get into it here and show you how the pattern unfolds. Notice the rain to our north, and it stays there. And we're looking at just a few clouds over us. That's that white area here, mostly over inland areas from the Trail Ridge, which is that elevated area in Baker County up through Charlton County along the Highway 301 corridor. That's the region that you'll have a bit more cloud cover and warmer temperatures as well. So from the 70s, we'll start to see those numbers going into the mid-80s this afternoon. But there is the front. That front is going to be driving southward as we head into Sunday. So, you know, let's keep our fingers crossed that can get in here. All the models are suggesting it will, and that would bring our highs down next week.
I got email. I love our emails, by the way. You guys email us anytime, but they were like, are we going to feel that difference? And I said, yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. When you go back to the low 80s, you feel it.
Yeah, even a 5-degree difference can make a big drop in the temperatures for you. And today we're about 85 here in town versus the low 80s along the beach. So there'll be a significant cool down factor there the closer you are to the coast. But then we're looking at like a 10-degree spread from the coast to the inland areas, which could be 90 degrees out towards Baker County.
I mean, that is.
Those 90s will be erased next week in the extended forecast. But as far as here you see it today, tomorrow, Sunday, those are your warm days, and then finally we'll ease back a bit there into
I
Monday.
kind of can't wait till Monday, but we do have a rain chance on Monday, a little heavier. I had a 40% chance, and I think this morning could have changed, but
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, so, if you've got some gardening, you've got that green thumb, you're going to get out in the gardens this weekend. It might be a good idea to get those plants in because we will have a few showers on Monday. Humidity is going to be a factor, though, if you are tilling the soil. It's going to be real sticky out there, and that is not much hope for changing that up because this front is not going to drop the humidity a great deal into early next week. There you see the hottest places in Florida are back along the Sun Coast and down through the Cultural Coast where highs will be in the low 90s. But here along the First Coast, it'll be far cooler than that. So the rain chances go up just a nudge Sunday.
Yep.
But in general, I think your weekend plans look pretty good if you're headed outdoors. Saturday, Sunday, we're looking at a nice start in the morning since temperatures will be there in the lower to mid 60s. And then you're right, there's that 40% chance of rain next week.
Got an email from another viewer that Sunday they're having a dog wedding. Isn't that interesting?
I didn't know that was a thing.
His dog Gordon is a husky,
Okay.
and he's marrying Donna, and it's the neighbor's Maltese. So that's a nice mix. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
he literally, he's so cute. He was like, "What's the weather?" I said, "Well, I mean, rain on your wedding day is good, but it's only 30% chance." They live in Palatka, so hey, George.
All right. Well, I'm sure there'll be a lot of dogs out on that wedding there.
I guess it's just long,
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. All right, so coming up, we're going to take a break, and I want you to stick around because you know what we're going to talk about? It is the opening of the beaches, but I think beyond that, what are the best websites to use to get beach information? And there are 3 of my favorites that will help you stay safe on the beach. It'll help you know about the weather conditions there. And if you want to go for a jump in the ocean, it's all the information that will be right there at your fingertips. So stay tuned for that. We'll see you after this. We're back.
Oh, yeah. We've got information coming from you that people are really only going to find here.
So, my job is to look for good data, and I've got a few websites that I want to share with you that will help you plan your beach activities. There's 3 websites. One you might actually know about. If you're a surfer, you definitely do, but it's called 911 Surf Report. My buddy Eddie, he puts this out, and every single day before sunrise, he's at the beach, and he takes videos of the coastal conditions, usually at either the Jacksonville Pier or Hanna Park, and then he posts the video and the pictures online. In fact, I'm going to try to show you some of the photos here of this, of today when he was out there. Everything's running a little bit slow, but it's a good page to go to just to see the current conditions. So here you can see waist to chest high waves breaking at Hanna Park. You can see the texture of the conditions, whether or not it's glassy or choppy, and you can get an idea of just how many people are out there. There is some data on the page at the top that shows wave heights and at the different buoys, the current tides and the forecasted tides through the day. And so there's a lot of information here at your fingertips. Also, different cameras of the Jacksonville Pier in addition to the video that he posts there. So that's really helpful. But there are 2 other websites that you probably have never stumbled upon. I don't even think anyone knows about this, but this is my favorite because when I go into the water, I want to know which way I'm going to be drifting. Usually there's a littoral current that will drift you to the north or to the south. And the UNF, the professor there at the Coastal Engineering, set up a one-of-a-kind buoy network that's just a few thousand feet off the coastline in Guana. And they tethered this buoy to the coast. And this photo on the right actually shows the direction in which the waves are coming to the beach. It shows the current. And this is the most important thing. Are you going to go, sometimes when you go in the ocean, you'll wind up way down the beach.
Yeah, you
right?
look and you're like, where's my chair?
So this will help you decide where you want to enter the ocean so that you don't have to walk back. You know which way you're going to be drifting. It actually measures the speed. And earlier this week, it was a pretty strong drift at 1 meter per second. And that's pretty fast. An Olympic swimmer would be about, I don't want to give that fact out because I forgot it, but anyways.
That's crazy, though, that comparison. I mean, really, when you think about it, because you do, realistically, and kids, too, they get in and the parents are like, yeah, swim, and then they end up way down. So that's cool that exists.
So if you can see the cursor there, that's the wind flow on the top of this chart. The wind speed yesterday reached about 18 knots, and you can see how the current here in this purple line reached almost 1 foot per second. So it's not meters, it's in feet. So 1 foot per second. So that jars my memory now. An Olympic swimmer swims their 50 meter about 3 feet a second.
Good Lord.
So that is like a third of the speed of an Olympic swimmer. But that was just at 18 mile per hour winds. When we get nor'easters, we can get currents moving along the beach that's almost 4 knots, and that's about the average rate of the Gulf Stream. So that's a pretty, an Olympic swimmer couldn't swim against that. And this is a buoy that is measuring those current speeds about 1,000 or about 2,000 feet off the coastline. What you'll find with being like just a couple feet off the beach, sometimes the currents between the sandbar and the shore are even faster than what's beyond the sandbar.
Yeah.
So that is where you can get swept away, and the risk for rip currents is always something that you should consider. So here is another website. I'm going to be putting all these websites in an article today so that you can find it. This is an incredible product by the National Weather Service here in Jacksonville, and it shows the risk for rip currents. That red line on the top is the chance of 50% or more of having a high risk for rip currents. You can see the sine wave at the top, the blue. That is the diurnal variation of the high and low tide. Rip currents actually get stronger during a low tide because there's some water that's trapped there and it tries to move out through the gaps of the sandbar. So research has shown that a few hours before and after low tide, you'll have higher rip current risks than, say, on a high tide. Now, there can be very strong rip currents on high tides as well, but this weekend, 2 o'clock is the low tide at the beaches, and it also coincides with a full moon, a new moon. So you're not going to see the moon at night, but during full or new moons, there's extra tug to the ocean. And this month, this weekend, we will have the largest tide swings of 7.5 feet. So when the tide goes low, it's actually going to be dropping below sea level by 1 foot. And then as the tide goes higher, it's going to be rushing into about 6.5 feet. So altogether, you're looking at a 7.5 foot tide swing. So there'll be some pretty strong ebbs and flows trying to get through the depressions in the sandbar. The point is, if you're going swimming Saturday in the afternoon, when those winds pick up, the sea breeze, you'll see lifeguard activity because it's a given that people are going to be pulled out on a weekend setup like this. So that top graph there shows the forecast for rip current risk remaining high through the next several days, because this goes all the way out to May 1st. The second line here, this blue line, that is actually the wave heights forecast in our nearshore waters at around 3 feet. And the period, this third blue line here, is a period of around 9 seconds. The higher the number on wave period, the more energy there is. And that is the number one factor when I do surf forecasting. I look at wave period first.
Yeah.
Because the wave energy tells you the shape of the waves. If it's a smaller wave period, it's choppy. If it's more longer, there's more energy. The waves will break farther out in the ocean. And overall, it's a better surfing experience. And the swell direction. So swell direction, if it's a southeasterly wave coming in, chances are you're going to be drifting towards the north. So that's all good information.
It's great information. Like it's
those
so
three
neat. They break
websites,
it down.
yeah.
You got to read his article, and then it'll be there forever.
Yeah, and hopefully that will help you plan. And also, I did a story on how to get out of rip currents, because a lot of the literature or what you see, the reporters, they're like, just swim parallel. But
you're like I
said, remember, if you're swimming parallel and you're swimming into that littoral current that's moving the opposite direction, you're never going to get out of the water.
And
they don't even think about saying that.
No.
Let's take a look at this story here, and hopefully it'll help you. High elevation side from the pier, you can see a really good example. Look for the discoloration in the water. You see the dark green, you see the light color, that's all the sediment being pulled out. That is not where you want to swim. That is a rip current. When you get to the beach, the first thing you want to do is assess the conditions before you go swimming. Notice the red flags here close to the pier. That's because rip currents are always higher near piers and jetties. You're not supposed to swim near these flags because rip currents are stronger there. Secondly, always swim in front of a lifeguard. If you do get in trouble, they can rescue you, and also they can direct you to areas away from rip currents. Rip currents can be very abstract, so instead of talking about how to get out of it, let me show you how to get out of it. See there where the color starts to fade away? That's the end of the rip current. One thing to remember is you're not going to get pulled all the way out to sea. You're just going to get drifted out past the sandbar, and then the rip current ends, so don't panic. Now notice how fast I'm getting pulled out by the pilings, but I'm to the point where the current is starting to slack off, and out here I'm past the sandbar. If I start to feel tired, the first thing you do, relax and lay on your back. Next, you swim parallel away from the current. One thing that people don't tell you, they say, yes, you should swim parallel to the shore. The problem is, if the current is coming from one direction, you don't want to swim parallel into that current. So always swim with the current parallel to the shore. And then look for a wave to surf back in. As a former certified lifeguard, it is always surprising how quickly you can get pulled offshore. Remember, keep sense, keep aware, and always swim near a lifeguard. If you do that, you'll be safe and you'll enjoy the beach. Well, that day was remarkable. You know, there was a textbook day for spotting rip currents.
We could see it clearly with that drone.
And that was a day where the wave periods were very long. That's why it kind of looked glassy, but the waves were spaced out, but they had energy, and it created those rip currents. And when you're in an elevated position, it's easier to see rip currents. And that drone vantage point was remarkable.
Unreal.
You could see that turbidity plume that I embedded myself in. It just sucked me right out. I was halfway out the pier within 30 seconds. That's how quickly the pull was offshore. So this will be a weekend where it's going to be choppy, or it's going to be harder to see those rip currents. So just swim in front of a lifeguard, and they'll keep eyes on you, and try not to go below your waist if you're an out-of-towner or someone that doesn't swim very well. Obviously, for some surfers, they're going to be looking forward to the bigger waves.
Oh yeah, they can't wait.
This weekend.
Are you one of them?
I'll be out there for sure. Yeah. So it's the opening of the beaches this weekend. Good weather for that. And hey, you know, maybe even a cool down next week.
Go enjoy it, guys. Get out there and enjoy it. Send us your Snapjacks, and we can't wait to see you next week.
See why every day more people are choosing News 4 Jax, Northeast Florida and South Georgia's #1 source for local news.